we'll do the live thing first. Like, hey everybody, welcome back to the Bigmark podcast. It's me, your host, Bigmark. If it's your first time watching, welcome. If not, welcome back. Like I always say, if you ever wanted to reach out to the podcast, go ahead, hit us up in the DMs on Instagram or Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it these days, at the Bigmark podcast or at the Bigmark pod, wherever you're following us, and make sure that you're following us. Thank you all for listening and being here, watching, or however you're taking us in tonight. Because, you know, that's the best way you could possibly support the podcast. So thank you so much for helping us grow. If you wanted to go the extra mile, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and all that fun stuff on YouTube, and leave a comment, you know, leave a review, do everything else, on all the other platforms. It seems these days you can leave a comment even on Spotify. So again, thank you all for watching, and I appreciate it. And if you wanted to go that extra mile, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/BigmarkPod. So we got all kinds of ways to help us out, spread the word, let people know how we do things here. You know, we kind of go everything from sports to psychedelics, if you've never heard the podcast. So, you know, I'm doing a little fun one today, talking about the snowstorm that hit. I mean, depends on, I guess, who you were, or what you were doing for the snowstorm. But it was interesting. It was kind of fun. The last one, at least, was on Family Day. But over the last three storms, so to speak, over the beginning of February 2025, if you're listening to this in the future, the beginning of February, Eastern and, you know, kind of middle central Eastern Canada got hit with major snowfall. GTA, Hamilton specifically are what we're going to be talking about today. But, you know, around Toronto and Hamilton just got hammered with snow over a succession of three different snowstorms. And we hit almost historic records. We were pretty close, actually, to hitting the numbers, but it's the deepest snow that we've seen in decades, because it's actually the second deepest on record since January 1999, and that most of that was kind of contributing from El Nino has gone, but La Nina has come up. So those are, you know, kind of pressure systems that run up and down the seaboards of North America, and when La Nina comes, she usually brings, if you will, it's always so funny when we start talking about weather, things start to get a little pagan. But anyway, as La Nina kind of comes down, she usually brings that kind of Arctic cold that comes down. And again, it was contributing to those three storms back to back, bringing that Arctic air surging from the south over Western Canada. And then there was just a big, I should have a green screen behind me here with a little pointer. I feel like a weatherman. And that's just what killed us, right? Those three storms just back to back to back just hammered us and accumulated a bunch of snow everywhere. And again, the second deepest on record. So more or less, I think, not necessarily. I mean, I thought it was dealt with well because it happened over time, so they cleared kind of the main roads. But I'll tell you right now, I live near Gage Park, kind of in a neighborhood in Hamilton, if you're familiar. And the side roads are just not fucking clear, and there's just huge piles, and people can't park anywhere. And a guy, like, the roads aren't wide enough. I'm sitting in a snowbank basically, and a guy wouldn't get out of, like, the ruts. I mean, they're ruts, so it's hard to not get out of them because they're tire tracks. And he, like, his mirror hit my mirror, and it was like no damage, thankfully. But it was like, come on, brother. And it's just how bad the side roads are, and I don't understand why they can't do something about it. Like, you got to come. What they have to do essentially is, like, come down with like a snow blower situation and be like blowing that into another vehicle that, like, can carry that snow away. Because, like, you can't just, like, push it up and keep pushing it to the side, and it just gets fucking cheeched up near people's driveways and stuff. And it's the worst. Like, people shovel their driveway, get it all clean, and all of a sudden the plow comes by and covers it up. I mean, obviously there's not much you can do. I have seen a device that seems to kind of like raise and lower though, which helps do that. But I'm sure that's an expensive piece of equipment that probably breaks all the time, because that's just what happens. And when you have historic snow, a snowpack as they call it, when you have that much snow, I mean, fuck, I guess it happens. But again, with that surge of cold air coming down, created a low pressure system that pulled up the mild and humid air coming from the south, and that just ramped up the moisture in the air, just completely shot it up, and that's what contributed to all that snow. Just because there was that complete mix, and with the lakes, as they call it, the lake effect, here around the Great Lakes, that air just mixes, and the lakes are different temperatures than the land, and it's just all types of fucking wildness. So, Toronto got 60 centimeters in snowpack in total. And I mean, fuck, it was snowing a little bit on my way home now, so maybe it's not even over yet. And Hamilton got 55 centimeters. So Toronto was 7 centimeters off the record snowfall, which fell in 1999. And Hamilton was 9 centimeters off. So in February 1978, Hamilton's deepest snowpack was 64 centimeters. So again, not fucking far off. So this is pretty epic. I mean, honest to God, I kind of feel like I remember the 1999 snowfall, because I was 8 and not even. And that would have been a fucking sick time. I was 7, I guess, at the time. But I was fucking stoked to play in that snow, I'm sure. It was so much snow. Are you kidding me? Fuck. I mean, that was probably the year that my school got banned from being on the snowbanks, because there used to be, a plow would come in and shovel our fucking playground, which was a parking lot, but they would shovel all of it. And it was these big, huge snowbanks. And we obviously were fucking in them making forts, fucking unreal snow fights. Like, I swear to God, now I'm thinking about this, that 100% I remember that. And we got banned for sure, because people were just getting decked and bodied and broken and bloody noses, I'm sure, all the time. But again, like I said, I mean, kudos to everyone, Hamilton and Dundas and all the surrounding areas for clearing the main ways mostly. I mean, honestly, even like the side, like they haven't been able to really completely clear most of the main roads. So, I mean, kudos, you did, it's drivable, but you can't take the foot off the gas, boys. We got to keep working. We got to keep trying to get some of this shit out of the way. And again, people are brutal driving, fucking hitting me and shit, which sucks. I mean, again, didn't hit me hard, but fuck. And the guy kind of gave me shit. Like I had to go somewhere. I'm pulling off a main road. There's nowhere else I can go. He should have just slowed down. But that being said, there were kind of some moments in these snowstorms where it was kind of fun. I mean, it did happen over Family Day weekend, which it might have fucking bummed some people out as far as like travel was concerned. And of course, all the people that have to, clear all the snow. I don't envy you in the slightest, but there were moments where, people saw people getting stuck, and you go lend a hand, you help dig people out, you push them down the road, right? It's this kind of interesting thing that when there's this shared kind of, I mean, shit, it's a second deepest snowfall on record. You can almost consider that like, an emergency situation, but it's like a heightened awareness situation. You can say that, at least. And, it's kind of fun lending a helping hand and, contributing and feeling like you're part of that community a little bit more, and that unity part of community I felt, a little bit. And that's like, not to dredge up old wounds, but that's what I was always wishing would happen during COVID. And of course, it's a disease where you have to be away from people, and it makes you scared of people because they might make you sick, you might make them sick. It's just not like hey, let's everyone get together. But even after 9/11, again, not to bring up fucking old wounds again, this is crazy. This is taking a wild turn, but like, I don't mean the actual event. I mean, afterwards, there was this sense of unity that emanated from New York City, where all these people just got together and were nice for at least a couple of fucking days. And that's a lot coming from New York City. And you could just tell that there was so much strength in community and in being together and working together and, you know, letting people go in traffic and working as a team and all this stuff happened during that time. And I wish it happened during COVID, and it happened a little bit during this snowstorm. And let's just turn this around, put a little button on things. It happened during the snowstorm. I was really, really excited to see, that people, you know, banded together, you know, neighbors helping shovel snow and, you know, do all that fun stuff. Right. It's funny because my buddy Mike Norman was in town. Shout out Mike. And the last huge snowstorm, which was in 2011, which I was in London at the time in university. It was a huge snowstorm. We got dumped on like, I think like 5 feet of snow in like 3 days. It was crazy, but that's London. My buddy Seb and I got in a car and fucking drove and had to go pick up a fucking hard drive of his somewhere. I don't know, whatever. And it was nuts, but thankfully we were like one of the only people on the road. But me and this other crazy Frenchman, Seb's from Quebec, were ripping in the snowstorm. And then my buddy Mike Norman was in town, and he's another Quebecer, and we were ripping in the snow too. So maybe there's something about that. I'll see my next Quebec friend. I don't know who you might be. It's probably gonna be Mike. But I'll see you in the next snowstorm. Hopefully we'll be safe and not driving. What are we doing anyway? Now we had to get some barbecue, baby. So again, it was nice to see that. It was nice to see that love out there, although it sucks. And now it's starting to turn a little bit shitty because the roads suck. And it's always that bullshit in Canada anyway, where after a beautiful snowfall, everything's covered. And, you know, I went for a walk in the Engage Park over here, and everything's covered in a nice dusting of snow. Everything's beautiful. But you know, in a few days, everything's going to be shitty melted, and the roads are going to be gross, and there's going to be salt everywhere, and people are going to be fucking digging and shoveling and killing themselves, and it's going to be fucking brutes. And again, hopefully... It seems like now we've kind of gone into a little bit of a cold snap here on top of it, so this shit ain't going nowhere. But I think in about a week, this is on what is today, the 19th, there's going to be a little bit more warmth. It's going to get closer to zero, and hopefully that helps melt some of the shit. Because again, Hamilton doesn't really get that much fucking snow, man. So it's really weird to see this much around. Anyway, I thought that was a little fun one, just talking about the record snowfall that most of us, at least on the Eastern Seaboard, went through. So hopefully everyone survived and is safe and got their car out and is running okay, and also got to experience some of the beauty that was in that snow. And I know it's kind of this weird thing where it's like, ooh, it's just snow, but it is lovely, and it dampens all the sound everywhere. It's pretty cool. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Check us out, follow us, like the shit, have the fun times. We'd like to hear from you. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening. Peace.